AEW. Their future looking pretty bright. 3 free agents seem to be headed their way to AEW. Rank them in terms of their future AEW impact. Okada, Ospreay, and Merecdes Moné.
So this is super easy for me. Number 1, and then there's a gap after number 1 is Merecdes Moné.
Okay.
I think it's Merecdes. And look, I mean, we've already seen some of Ospreay so in AEW, and I think that's kind of limiting. I don't think it's going to limit his impact, but the fact that he's not even there yet and you have to announce a match with him not being there, kind of stings. And Okada at 36 at this point, like Okada's still going to be an attraction, but I just don't see him factoring in the way that Merecdes Moné is. Because I think with Merecdes and what they've added with Deonna Purrazzo and what Toni Storm's been doing, and once Britt Baker, I don't know where the bleep she's been, but once you add Britt Baker back into that with Thunder Rosa coming back, like this could be the best women's division in professional wrestling, which is saying something given the respect level I have of what WWE has right now. But I think that this has the potential with Merecdes Moné to be the best women's division in all of pro wrestling. And I think Merecdes is headlining that. Like, I think we could get, more than just 1 or 2 women's matches, on a pay-per-view. We could probably have up to like 3 in a 2-hour Dynamite if you tell these stories correctly, because there's so much damn talent that you have on that roster. So to me, it's Merecdes Moné is number 1. At 32 years old, she's still a star, and there's going to be some excitement around her. I think if you do it right, you can really elevate a lot of those other individuals in the women's division, and you can start building that thing where it could get red hot by the summer.
So I agree with everything you've said. The one issue, and the reason I don't put Merecdes at 1, is all of that should be true. That women's division should be the best in wrestling. That women's division should be main eventing shows. That women's division should have multiple matches on a show. But we haven't seen that yet from AEW. We don't know where Britt Baker is. We've seen Thunder Rosa come back, and now she's just sort of there. They're doing a great job with Toni Storm. They're telling those stories. The TBS title is even telling stories. The Willow stuff, the Julia Hart, Sky Blue. But there's been too much of, well, we started hot and there's not anything now, to where I worry about what they're going to do with the women's division. Even something as simple as Saraya. Like, that was such a big deal and such a big get. And now she's just an afterthought and part of Rampage. Like, that's not where she should be. So that is my biggest concern when it comes to Tony Khan and the booking of the women's division.
Which is fair, and I think you can say the same thing with Serena Deeb after she came back. Like, I enjoyed the vignettes that she had as the professional wrestling, and that's really kind of gone nowhere. But again, you start running down, and then you add people like Athena to that list that they have in ROH. Like, you've got an incredibly deep.
Going to be back at some point. Like, remember how they got her?
Yeah, I think there's a lot you can do with that women's division, and I think that women's division could be the deepest that you have. So whether or not they actually give time to it, I don't know who TK would listen to in order to get that women's division hot. But I think you've got an opportunity there. So that's why I would put, because look, I don't expect, I expect Merecdes Moné to come in and be an immediate contender for the AEW Women's Championship.
As she should be, yes.
I don't expect, because we've seen Ospreay around, I don't expect Ospreay or Okada to be coming in and be wrestling Samoa Joe. Maybe eventually, but I don't think that they're going to be wrestling Samoa Joe at Double or Nothing for the AEW World Championship.
No, I think that's fair. And I think, so I have Ospreay top of my list, mainly because I know that we're going to get 5-star matches whenever Ospreay steps in the ring, because that's what he does. Like, we do our matches of the week. We should add the caveat, matches of the week that don't include Ospreay, Bryan, or Swerve. Like, we see those guys every week. They step in the ring. They're going to deliver. So you have that aspect. I think there is something there to Ospreay being on American television more frequently, being able to be found, to be on a Wednesday night, to where that when he goes out there, it doesn't matter what company he's working for, he's going to give you that 5-star match. But there still is reason for concern there also. I mean, we've seen it with Jay White, where he started off so hot, they protected him so well, and now he's just part of a mega group, and they're part of 12-man, and just a very odd spot for him right now. And not everyone could be a world title contender every week, but just the thought of Will Ospreay in wrestling matches every week, and him and Takeshita at Revolution, that's going to be a random middle of the night show card.
Yep.
But that match is going to deliver. That's just what Will Ospreay does. Bruv.
Yeah, well, so I guess that's the other thing that I worry about. And I think you and Jay Hood really liked his I've got stepkids, bruv.
Yeah.
I've got people I got to pay for, bruv promo. I did not think it was as strong as you guys did, and I still have concerns about him being able to step in the ring and tell compelling stories. I know he's going to put on my favorite match of the week.
Right.
I know he's going to do that, but can he step in the ring and tell compelling stories? I know Merecdes Moné can, and I know she will. Like, I have no doubt that, like, she's been very selective, right?
Mhm.
And very easily could have gone back to WWE. All the reports out there saying that it fell apart because of money. Look, I think she's going to be protective of herself, and I think she's going to have a certain amount of creative control, which is part of the reason why she ended up walking away from WWE in the first place, because she didn't like the creative direction of her and Naomi as the tag team champions. So I think she's going to make sure she's telling those compelling stories that we want to see, that we're going to be interested in. Whereas I think there's a little bit more work that has to be done with Ospreay and Okada. Like, I'm just not more sure Okada fits in the wrestling landscape. Whether he would have signed with WWE or AEW, I feel at 36 years old, he's getting lost in the shuffle.